Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions.
You good?
Podcast. No, I'm just crying that I didn't get my waiver
I thought you were choking over
last night. Well, my water.
Air, I guess.
Yeah, breathing heavy. It is Wednesday, December 11th. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon right across from me, as always. You know what's astounding to me is that this is we had two after this one, two whole Wednesday episodes left.
Yeah.
Until the end of the NFL season, at the end of the fantasy season, I should say. The NFL season just beginning with the playoffs, but you know we got you covered all year round. So don't just be
For sure, Holmes.
For sure. Don't be sad when the fantasy season ends. Just incessantly listen to Fantasy Football Podcast until you win your championship.
What if you win the championship?
Then you continue to destroy your league. Go for a 5-peat.
I feel like if somebody won 5 straight championships, though, nobody else in the league would want to play.
Do you think
even if someone 3-peats, would everybody else
but that's
just be
that's like going into somebody's league and then you if you 3-peat, then I think people are still involved.
Do you think, like, if in our league, if let's say I were to 3-peat, you think, or especially maybe not me, if you were to 3-peat, do you think anyone else in the league would want to keep playing? I think I would probably, but that's it.
You want to take me down,
but everybody else would be like, "This isn't fun
depends on
anymore."
how serious you take it.
Yeah,
but
like I know for a fact one person.
If you take it extremely,
at least one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you take it extremely seriously, and the rest of your league does not, you dominate for 5 straight championships, then yeah, you know what? You probably should find a different league that's more competitive.
No, but I'm talking about the rest of the guys in the league.
Oh, in my league.
Yeah, in our league.
That's in our league. Yeah, that's not. Unfortunately, I don't think that would ever happen.
There's too much parity.
For me, there's too much parity. Today, we discuss Week 14 booms and busts, as well as break down some weekly matchups. Before we get into our booms and busts, be sure to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at the FFChamps. Follow us on Instagram at thefantasychampions. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thefantasychampions. Subscribe wherever you listen. And then be sure to leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Let's get right into the booms and busts segment or portion of this show. We're going to try to keep this episode concise, down to the point. For you faithful.
Yes. If you want to listen to this and win this week.
I certainly hope Fantasy Pros works this week for me in terms of...
It's working so far for me.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It usually crashes right in the middle of our show. So let's talk about quarterbacks first. There it is. Just completely crapped the bed for me.
Did it actually?
It did.
So I have the quarterback list in front if you want me to do it.
That's right. I got another one.
Okay.
I got you. Drew Brees. We talked about him yesterday. He had 45 fantasy points.
That's our league, though.
It's our league. He has.
So he had 40.
40.
Yep.
You give us the numbers.
Okay.
I have.
Brees had 40.
Faulty numbers, but he had 40 fantasy points on 5 touchdowns, 349 yards. He had a rushing touchdown as well. So he was
my set of the week.
Freaking monster in this game, and only 20% of people started him.
Yeah, I was going to say, against San Francisco.
So
pretty much everybody said to sit him.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Brees, I really don't know what to do with him. I think
you probably have to start next week.
I don't want to. I would say no.
I know you don't want to,
don't
but
start him. No, don't do it. I'm saving you fantasy champ. You can say start him. I'm saying don't start him. Don't buy into this facade.
If he gets on the 20 plus,
then you know what? Frick me. But I am gonna fall on that sword, right. And I will die on that sword.
I don't think it's a bad idea to go with your end. I just think you don't have a choice. He just scored 40.
Now, how much of a monster would Jameis Winston be?
If he didn't throw an interception this week, he would have had 43, I think.
Yeah, something
43
like that.
fantasy points.
Yeah, he
was on my bench.
Flip
in a playoff game.
He's
and
been.
I started Kirk Cousins at 14.
Stop. You're an idiot.
Not a good week for me.
Yeah.
Not a good season for me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. He's about I
had so many of these.
Yeah, that's true.
All season.
I mean, it's disappointing, obviously, to not play a guy against Indianapolis who would have known that he would get 38 fantasy points.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just, if he didn't have those 3 interceptions, he would be fantastic. But anyway, so Jameis Winston's number 2, a guy who's come out of nowhere, literally from the pits of hell, and revived himself.
Started to play.
Detroit and Dallas in the last 2 weeks. A man by the name of Mitch Trubisky has scored 26 and 35 fantasy points. You know what he's going to
33 and 35 in our league, yeah.
Thank you. You know what he's going to do in week 15 and 16? He's going to go bonkers. And you know what's going to happen? Next year, everyone's going to buy into the same freaking trend again. He's going to get drafted as a top 10 quarterback with excitement. And then they're going to get their soul
back down to Mitch
ripped out.
Trubisky, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So,
Dude,
I mean, he's been really good.
First 2 weeks of the season, he had 8 and 5. Then he had 22. Then he had 1, but he got hurt.
Then he took 3 weeks off.
Then he had 22 again, 7-6, 22, 11, 19, and then the last 3 weeks, 19, 26, 35. What do you think he gets this week against Green Bay?
Oh my God!
In Lambeau, I'm gonna say under 20.
I'm gonna say like 10.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let me ask you this. I gotta see the last game here of the season against Kansas City. So Kansas City anticipated being a shootout. Would getting ahead of the 8 ball a little bit, week 16. Would you want to play Mitch Trubisky?
I really would. I really would not.
Would you have to?
I might. Yeah, there might be better options. I don't know the way he's been playing the last few weeks, if there are any better options.
That's crazy. He was the QB3 this week. I think he was the QB1 last week. I'm sorry. No, that was a good week for quarterbacks, I guess. He was the QB7 or 8. But anyway, Mitch Trubisky, number 3 quarterback, 35 fantasy points. Or how many did he have?
Mitch Trubisky at 35, yeah.
In real life?
Fantasy? Oh, sorry, he had 33.
Yeah.
In real life, you mean?
Is this
he scored 33 touchdowns.
Jimmy G, he had a total of 28, I believe. Is that right?
Jimmy G had 29.
Okay. So he had another great week against New Orleans. He's confusing the hell out of me because he's had some really good games this season, and then he's had some really stinky games. Like, you had this monster game early in the season against Cincinnati where he took 25 fantasy points. Then you fast forward after a bunch of bad weeks in a row against Washington. You're thinking, okay, this is a streamable week. He gets 6. And then he goes out against Arizona, 32, 11 against Seattle, 33 against Arizona again. And then he gets 20 against Green Bay. And then he gets 10 against Baltimore. And then this week against New Orleans in a good matchup, 32. So does Jimmy G poop himself against Atlanta?
There's a chance.
Or do we get a good game out of him? I know he's our streamer of the week. He's a guy that you have to play.
I think he's going to do good, but...
Yeah, you can't... Within reason. Careful. 29 fantasy points for Jimmy G. Had a really great week. We had Tannehill. He just went ham in this game. 391 yards,
28 fantasy
touchdowns.
Points.
He had 28 fantasy points against Oakland. Ryan Tannehill, to me, if he's still on your waiver wire, should be outside of... We make Jimmy G our streamer of the week because Jimmy G is actually available. Ryan Tannehill is probably not available, but if he is available, I would play him over Jimmy G this week.
Who, Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah.
Who is he playing?
Houston.
Yeah, I probably would too. I don't. It's so close. I'd hate to make that decision.
I know.
I probably would though.
I'm probably gonna put myself in that position this week, which is fantastic. I'm gonna say start Ryan Tannehill over Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's close. I would start both those guys.
The only reason why I say this is because Ryan Tannehill rushes it, and in the last 2 weeks he hasn't done really well. He has only had 24 yards rushing combined in the last 2 weeks, but the 3 weeks before that, he had 38, 37, and 40. He usually rushes it 5 to 6 times a game, so if he gets the floor of like 35 yards, that could save your fantasy week. You know what I mean? He gets like a 17-point week, but you get the 35 rushing yards, and it gets you to 20. It kind of makes the difference between why did I start him in okay, we're all right here. So I think that, but the matchups are really good in the next 2 games. He's at home for both of them.
Yep.
So I have to take Ryan Tannehill here.
Okay.
But anyway, Deshaun Watson had another very good week. He had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Trash time points.
They were
down like 31-0 at halftime.
Flip. Yeah. Denver against.
He scored like 2 late touchdowns, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. How many points did he have?
He ended up finishing with 30.
Okay.
So he actually had more than Garoppolo. Not in our league, but.
Yeah. Phillip Rivers had 24.6. So he had a good game as well.
Yeah,
Finally,
surprisingly.
Rivers was sat
against Jacksonville
at the end of that game for Tyrod Taylor.
He was
replaced for.
Well, he was sat, but it was like they were winning 31-0.
They finally played a game where they could succeed. If Phillip Rivers does play rest of the season really good, that's a good sign.
And
for
Melvin Gordon would have had a 23-point week, but you know what happened?
What? At
the goal line, they're at the 6-yard line, right?
Yeah.
He runs it, scores a touchdown. They look at the replay. He's down at like the half-yard line, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, we'll just punch into it, Gordon. Next play, instead of doing that, they give it to the fullback. I was so pissed.
Oh, ripping your heart out.
Ugh. He still got like 17 points, but
when
still.
Phillip Rivers is playing good, though, the rest of that team kind of goes with it. So
what a shock, right?
Drew Lock in no way can be a stream.
24.9. I don't know, bro. He's playing Kansas City.
Stop it.
I was tempted.
Get the hell out of here.
I love Drew Lock.
Yeah, I love Drew Lock too. Maybe next year. Jacoby Brissett had how many?
22.6.
Yeah, so Jacoby Brissett is not a bad option. He's had some good games. He's had some bad games.
Yep.
He does have New Orleans this week in New Orleans. I would say
could be
because it's in New Orleans, it's kind of a tougher game for him.
But Garoppolo also just lit up New Orleans.
Jimmy G is a little more
Jimmy G's special,
deeper in Jimmy G and Jacoby Brissett, ex-New England Patriots. Jeepers creepers.
Yeah, I mean you could consider him, but I wouldn't.
Put some notable mentions out there. Matt Ryan.
Lamar, only 20.8. Wow.
He had 20 the week before, so he's not been the same Lamar that we've seen. He had the last 2 weeks. You want to hear his yards totals the last 2 weeks?
Sure.
In the last 3 weeks, he has had 169, 105, and 145
That's so bad.
in passing yards. The game against LA, their defense was playing so well that he threw 169 yards and 5 touchdowns. Isn't that ridiculous?
Well, okay, so that was a great game.
But he had, in the week before, it was 105 and a touchdown, a 101 and a touchdown. He also fumbled it in that game, which kind of.
So he has played against San Francisco, though, LA.
Yeah.
Although he torched LA, but San Francisco,
right.
Buffalo this week in Buffalo in a rainy game. He played New England a few weeks back, although he did pretty good in that game.
He has the Jets this week, so he should have a good week.
Yeah,
but
he should dominate.
He's a notable mention. Let's talk about some busts at the bottom of this. Big baller Brady.
Yeah, Brady choked.
You had Fitzpatrick if you thought that against the Jets
Kirk
would be a good
Cousins
matchup.
13.6 against the Lions.
Yeah, you probably started him.
I did.
Is Dak a bust at 18?
No.
It looks like a bust.
He had 17.5.
Certainly looks like a bust.
He did rank 16.
If it looks like a bust and it smells like a bust.
Would you say 17.5 is a bust? It's like the lowest of busts.
I don't know if you watched the game. You were like, "Holy mackerel! This is a bust game." And then,
But you say that every game. You said that Thanksgiving and he scored 23.
If you put your phone down and just leave it somewhere else when you watch a Cowboys game, and then you get to the end of the Cowboys game and you pick up your phone, you're gonna be gleefully surprised.
Yeah.
If you own Dak Prescott, that he had an 18-point game after watching him and going, "How the hell does this offense score points?"
It doesn't make a lot of sense. And they're playing the Rams this week, but they'll probably still get 500 yards of offense.
The only other bust,
and score 18 points.
The only other
less than 18 points.
The only other bust here is Russell Wilson against Los Angeles.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is the biggest bust.
Oh, Rodgers? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he had a good matchup
against Washington, and that was supposed to be the last good matchup of the year.
Drop him now. Here we go.
I really
get rid of him. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's
let's move on to running backs. Austin Eckler, 29-point game.
That was not all in one play, but he had, of course,
really?
Yeah, my thing just cut. He had an 80-yard touchdown on a screen and was not touched.
What about the rushing yards? 101.
So that was good.
Yeah. So 29 fantasy points. Austin Eckler, he's been this season a top. This is insane.
He's a league winner, actually.
Early in the season.
I mean, considering where you drafted him, even after.
Oh yeah. No, he's been fantastic. I would agree. I'm trying to queue up the season totals, and my computer's freezing. All right, here we go. So he is currently. Oh my god!
Did your computer freeze?
Yeah, dude, this freaking blows.
Oh, I had projections. I was like, why is this?
Okay, so he right now is a top 5 running back in all of fantasy football, which is ridiculous. Aaron Jones is number 4.
And even so, like,
what is going on?
Since Melvin Gordon has
come
back.
What is this?
Since Melvin Gordon has come back.
Fantasy football is drunk right now.
He's had 22, 9, 11, 11, 17, 14, 29. He's still been. Ugh. I was wrong. I thought he wouldn't be the same player, but because he's only getting like 5 carries a game.
Yeah.
But he actually gets about 6 to 7 catches a game.
Yep. Right.
And in week 5 against Denver, Melvin Gordon wasn't back yet at this time, but you know how many receptions he had?
How many?
15.
Frick.
As a running back.
You know the record is like 18.
Yeah. He almost got it.
That's ridiculous. He had 29 this week. I don't have a problem starting him rest of the season. You got Aaron Jones.
At this point.
Aaron Jones had 28 fantasy points. Yep. Joe Mixon with 26. Joe Mixon makes his triumphant return. You have Raheem Mostert, who in the last couple weeks.
Last 3 weeks, he's the RB3.
Wow. 13, 22, 23. He's been very good. Coleman has been non-existent.
They've kind of just thrown Coleman away almost, and they've just been running it with
Mostert. Yeah, so, I mean, he doesn't get a lot of receiving. You know, I mean, he had 2 receptions for 40 yards.
Do you start him this week against the Falcons?
Oh, that's so hard. That is so hard.
He's available in most leagues.
I wouldn't hate it.
You know what? NFL.com, he's only owned in 16% of leagues.
Ugh. Man, this is crazy. I don't know if I would want to start. I mean, yes, if you need him, but otherwise, like on any given week, you could get Breida might come back.
This year's Chris Carson?
Or
he
Aaron
might Jones?
Be. He might be, but I like you might get.
Breida came back. Breida played.
Oh, in the last game.
Yeah.
You might get Breida or Tevin Coleman. It doesn't matter. Like every single week, it seems like it's a different guy. Right now, it's Mostert. It's
going to be one, but we just don't know who.
We don't know who it's going to be. So, Mostert with a good game, 23 fantasy points. Derrick Henry keeps it rolling with 23. 22. Don't act like you didn't have the same takes as in the middle of the offseason.
Before the season started.
Stop it.
What did I say? Before week 1, what did I say? What did I say? And then you laughed in my face.
You can't have a take change.
I had to take back.
He took every.
It was before the season started. It counts.
Every sound bite. He just took it all away.
Okay, no. In July we also we a lot of things changed from July to August. You know what?
I didn't get a lot of things wrong in the offseason, but this is one that you've like really hit home. You're like, you got this wrong. You're holding me accountable, and I don't like it. I hate Derrick Henry. I still do.
That's the only reason why.
He's gonna be a bust next year. I promise.
I'm like
every year. He had 2 touchdowns again, 103 yards. My God, if he doesn't have the touchdowns, he's completely worthless.
Oh my goodness gracious!
But he gets the touchdowns.
He gets 20+ touches every week.
Yeah, good for him. He's good. He's good. I'll say it. He's good. He ripped it out of me.
Okay.
No, I got it.
That's all I wanted.
Can we just take a pause so I can brush my teeth?
I need some mouthwash, buddy.
Yeah. Zeke has 22. Every week, Zeke is always there. Todd Gurley, 19. McCaffrey, 19.
Is it a bust?
McCaffrey didn't score a touchdown. It's not a bust for McCaffrey.
I was saying.
Stop
19's a piece.
He didn't score a touchdown in that game. In fact, he was held up a couple of times on the goal line from scoring, which is interesting. What is his rest of the season? He has a good matchup this week. He has Seattle,
McCaffrey,
and then Indianapolis. Yeah. So, I mean, those are mediocre matchups for him.
That's fine.
Yeah, and then you have DeAndre Washington with 18, Freeman with 17, and you have Melvin Gordon with 16, and it kind of drops off from there. Singletary,
I did not think would have a good week, but
at 14,
against Baltimore, he's still 17. Dude, Devin Singletary. Can I just say something real quick? You want to hear his yards per carry since week 8?
Yeah.
So since he's kind of gotten a chance to start.
Yep.
6.3, 4.8, 5.3, 5.5, 4.5, 5.2.
That's ridiculous.
That's like one of the best in the league.
He's going to be a monster next year, and I can't wait to draft him.
Unless he goes in the second round.
Yeah.
You take him first overall.
Is he like, he could be Dalvin Cook of next year.
Yeah.
Could be. If the freaking Bills are good.
Yeah.
That's the big if. Kareem Hunt, once again, getting 13 fantasy
Dude, I'm
points.
telling you, he's a great flex.
10, 8, 11, 15, 13. He's been, get him on a team that needs a running back now.
Yeah.
He would be a top 3 running back easy. He's so efficient.
There's like no point of him being on the Browns.
I'm not going to lie. If he gets his own, if he gets the full workload, right? He's better than Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara?
Yeah, dude. I don't know. He so
might
good.
Be actually.
He's so good.
I don't know. Kamara's had a bad year, but he's been great the last 2 years.
What are the chances Kansas City brings him back?
And I'm pissed too. It stinks for Chubb.
What? No, did you hear me?
Yeah, the Kansas City brings. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Would that be ridiculous?
But
dude, he would be number 1 on my draft board.
But because
I'd rip my hands off.
So Hunt is a beast. You have to play him.
Yeah.
Right. I don't take that away. But now Chubb, this week he had 15 carries.
No,
he had 7 points. Chubb had 15 carries for 106 yards. But fantasy-wise, only had 12 points because he had 15 carries for 106 yards and 1 catch.
Yeah. No, it does hurt Nick Chubb a little bit.
If Chubb doesn't get a touchdown, he's only going to get 10
still
points.
gets a freaking ridiculous amount of touches.
But Chubb only had 16 touches, and I think Hunt had 10.
Right.
Hunt had 11 touches to Chubb 16. That's pretty much a split.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. Lindsay had 12 fantasy
there you go,
points.
Lindsay.
Finally having a decent week. He has, since you take away the 27 and the 22-point game in the first 5 weeks of the season, he had 8, 8, 6, 14, 14, 3, 10, 15, 8, 7, 7, 12. He's just been generic.
He's a flex.
He's not worth that third round, fourth round pick you used on him, you morons.
If you picked Phillips in the third round,
that's a problem. I'm sorry for calling you a moron, though. David Johnson had 5 total touches and 12 total fantasy points.
There you go.
Exceeding the minimum. I was so happy to see him score a touchdown, but then I was like, dude, does this mean he's gonna play more?
Probably
Just kidding. Anyway, let's talk about some busts for the week. Do you have any busts that you want to hit on right away?
Mark Ingram had under 10. That's not really too much of a bust. Montgomery with 6. That's kind of a bust.
Fournette had 7.
Fournette had 7. That's a bust.
Yep.
Alvin Kamara with 4. That's a major bust.
Ugh.
Sony Michel are we at the point with Sony Michel to just drop? Is he even owned? I'm serious. This is a serious question.
He should be owned at the bottom of your bench.
Okay.
My God. That's so gross. I just looked at his numbers.
I would consider dropping him.
Yeah, it's not a bad option.
But as you say that, this week, a random week against Cincinnati, the New England Patriots are going to use Sony Michel and get 3 touchdowns. It's just, I feel like that's going to happen at some point this year.
It's inevitable.
It happened against the Jets in week 7. Look, he had 19 carries for 42 yards. He had 2.2 yards a carry, but he had 3 touchdowns.
That's so ridiculous.
I feel like that might happen this week against the Bengals. So maybe don't drop him, but he's talk about a trash can.
Yeah, dude.
Should the Patriots be on that list of teams that might need Kareem Hunt?
Hex to the end. I didn't even think about that. I'd start sweating a little bit. Let's move on to wide receivers. Emmanuel Sanders led the week, 157 and a touchdown, 31 fantasy points. You had A.J. Brown with 31. We talked about him on the last episode. Let's. I want to go back to Emmanuel Sanders for a second because I got a little excited moving on to the next guy.
Yeah.
In the past couple weeks when he got traded to San Fran, he had 10 and 20, and then after that it was 3, 4, 2, 6 in 4 straight games. He had 31 this week.
So didn't
he
got
Atlanta?
hurt though in 2? Didn't he leave the game in 2 of those 4 games?
Maybe, I don't know. But
I'm pretty sure he
garbage.
did. Well, if you leave the game in the second quarter and end up with 4 points, it's not really.
It doesn't really he's pacing it over. a lot of fantasy points in that game.
Still,
Against Atlanta, do you want to start him?
with all the injuries to receivers, you might want to. You
Okay.
might want to consider it.
Deontay Johnson had 25. This kid is actually looking really good.
Yeah.
He was a good pickup for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's few and far between. He's probably, if he didn't get picked up on your waiver wire, he's an okay option. But against Buffalo, he's just
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Michael Thomas, 24 points against San Francisco. Once again, a monster. DeAndre Hopkins had 22. Hopkins is getting back. He's getting back to what Hopkins knows how to do.
Does he play better without Will Fuller?
I think he does.
Because Will Fuller did not play this week against Denver.
But you look at the numbers from last year. He had consistently 20-point games. Since week 5, he's had 12, 12, 21, 16, 15, 11, 24, 14, and 22.
He's been good.
He's been very good.
He just hasn't.
He's a top
been,
4 wide receiver.
He hasn't been 5th overall pick. Good.
I don't think he was a 5th overall though.
He was.
He was number
in our
9.
league. He was number 5.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it was 7 or 8.
No, some leagues were even taking him 4.
I mean, he's still a top.
Zeke,
to me, he's still a top 3 wide receiver right now in the game.
Trying to think of
because he's number 4. He's number 4 right now, so he's not that far off.
He's probably Thomas is 1.
Mm-hmm.
Who's number 2?
I would say DeAndre Hopkins. Because the guys ahead of him in fantasy football right now, if you're just talking about this season, are Godwin and somebody else.
Hopkins is probably number 2.
So Hopkins right now is number 2 ahead of Julio. If we were to do our early draft rankings. But anyway, we have Robert Woods, 22 fantasy points. Last 2 weeks, he's had 20 or more fantasy points. He's getting a lot of targets. He had a fantastic week. Robbie Anderson, 21. There it is.
The boomer bust.
Woo! Finally, I told you. 16, 13, 21 the last 3 weeks.
He's balling the last 3 weeks.
What is your guy doing?
Oh, he's been blowing. They never have good games together though.
No, they don't.
Because those 3 weeks the last 3 weeks Crowder's not been good, but those 3 weeks it's actually funny. So Anderson, the last 3 weeks he has what? What does he have last 3 weeks?
16, 13, 21.
Crowder has 2-1-4. What were the 3 weeks before that?
4-1-7.
Crowder had 18, 16, 16.
It's so stupid.
It's only one of the.
It looks like we're a draw on this argument.
Yeah, both guys are kind of garbage.
So there's this guy for going down this list. Obviously, Julian Edelman 20, Allen Robinson 19, Marcus Johnson, wide receiver of Indianapolis 18, Zach Pascal had 17, and then you had Amari Cooper with 17, Calvin Ridley with 16, and then this guy Olamide Zaccheaus, wide receiver from the Atlanta Falcons. First game he's played this season. Goodness me.
So the reason he wasn't on our waiver wire list from the last show was because he might have had 15 points, but it was on one catch for 93 yards and a touchdown.
It's so stupid. Yeah.
It was on a single
Don't expect a breakout. So let's talk about some busts, and then we'll move on to tight ends and get to our matchup breakdowns and conclude the show.
All right.
So
Devontae Adams, 6 points. Such a
what about Julio with his 9 points again?
Yeah, Julio's a bust. Cortland Sutton had 5. That's a bust. Marvin Jones had 5. Tyler Lockett, man, what happened? First half.
Tyler Lockett is showing his true colors.
First half.
That's what's happening.
First 9.
Finally.
Up to
Only
week
took
9.
a season and a half.
Up to week 9.
I love Tyler Lockett.
I think Tyler Lockett is a very good receiver. It's just he's not getting.
He doesn't get targeted. That's what it's all. Yeah. We've been waiting for the moment where Tyler Lockett stopped.
He should get targeted. He is a good player.
Yeah.
But up to week 9, he was, I think, the wide receiver 2.
Your guy Cortland Sutton got 5, by the way.
I already said that.
Oh, flip. Sorry.
But since then, he's had 6-4-0-6 last 4 weeks.
Yuckadoo.
And the 0 he played.
What about Devontae Adams with that 6?
I was saying that was a massive choke job. So Aaron Jones had a good week, but that was only because he had a goal line touchdown, which is what he does.
Who?
Aaron Jones.
Okay.
But the Packers in general, Aaron
I was like,
Rodgers,
what does that got to do with the?
Well, because I was gonna say the Packers against the Redskins almost lost at home. The Redskins, they're such a fake team. People love the Packers this year, and I get it because they're the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, all this stuff, and they're 9-3. But I feel like anytime they play a really good team, other than the Cowboys, and even then, can you even say the Cowboys are a good team?
Maybe they have a lack of focus against the hard teams. I mean, the easy teams.
Yeah, and that's going to work well in the playoffs.
I meant easy teams.
Oh, okay. All right. But no, even like, I don't know. I feel like they've had a pretty easy schedule, too.
Right. Ugh.
I'm not a huge. Their offense blew. Like, everybody blew. Adams looked okay.
What about
when
Aaron
he got
Jones?
the
Is
targets,
28 fantasy points.
Yeah, but he had goal line touchdown. And
Yeah, no, that's how he does.
Yeah.
That's how he does. You had 4 points from Odell.
Yeah, that's
the second game in a row with 4 points. He's consistently becoming a bust candidate on a weekly basis. And then, I mean, Devontae Parker left the game with an injury.
Not
I
his
guess
fault, but that is a bust.
That's a bust. If you had anything to do with John Ross or Auden Tate, which I wouldn't suggest ever right now.
N'Keal Harry had 10 points. You saw the touchdown, right?
The touchdown that got called back or didn't get called
what do
at
you
all?
mean?
Yeah, it wasn't a touchdown. Did you not hear that?
What? No, he scored. That was a touchdown. You saw the play, right? That was a touchdown?
Oh, yeah, that was a
Oh,
touchdown.
okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything about
Yeah,
it.
it's not like he stepped out of bounds.
Everyone keeps tweeting about it.
I just saw the play.
I saw the
and
play.
He scored a
just
touchdown.
assumed he scored.
Yeah. He had 1 point.
Yeah, there's no one else that really was a bust this week. A
Uh,
lot of really good performances for a lot of people this week.
except Devontae Adams.
There was
and
like
Marvin Jones.
some, I know. There was some bust this week, but a majority of people really performed.
Kenny Golladay would have been a bust too with the Lions, but he
had 14.
I said would have. He got a touchdown with 2 minutes
Sounds
left in
like
the
you
game.
were watching the Lions game.
I was because I had Marvin Jones, Kirk Cousins, and Dalvin Cook. So I watched the whole game. And Kenny Golladay had actually less than Marvin Jones, but in the final drive he had 3 catches for like 40 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. Let's move on to tight ends. Jared Cook had 19 fantasy points.
2 catches, 2 touchdowns.
And look at this guy by the name of Noah
Fant.
Fant. He had 19 points. Now, obviously, the weeks before that, 7-2-1. He had 19.
Him and the Hawk are going to be beasts next year.
Yeah, when they're actually consistent enough to do good things. Well, we have to see. I mean, for Denver, I could fully believe that Noah Fant could be a beast.
Especially if Drew Lock is Drew Lock.
Detroit makes me nervous. I was thinking about earlier today with TJ Hawkinson. They make me nervous, and here's why. Because you have Marvin Jones and you have Kenny Golladay. So those 2 guys are targeted ahead of TJ Hawkinson, right?
Yeah.
You could say that. You can't even predict which one of those guys is going to have a good game. Then
true.
you factor in Kerryon Johnson's passing game.
Yeah, that is true.
So I would even say Kerryon's ahead of TJ Hawkinson.
Well, here's one thing you might miss, though. Who's number one? I think Hawkinson has a chance to be the number 1 target in the red zone next year. Well, Kenny Golladay is probably number 1, but Hawk will be a close second. Like, Hawk's going to get targeted in the red zone next year.
I mean, that's a very valid point, and we got a whole offseason to discuss it. But I don't know. This could be this is scary. If he's the 4th target on the team, it just makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
And he's dropped so many passes this year in the red zone. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't lend for you to
great
believe.
week 1.
Yeah, no, seriously. But Font is going to be. I think he's going to be really good next year because there's, for lack of a better option, you have Cortland Sutton there. You know what I mean? Unless they add a big wide receiver, there's no like I'm not really running to the Denver Broncos to get a wide receiver. But anyway, George Kittle 15. That guy's a monster. Did you see? Were you watching that San Francisco 49ers
I
game?
watched the whole game, yeah.
Dude, he's a freaking monster. I've been telling you this all year, 2 guys on his back for a first down.
I honestly think he's the best tight end in football.
I like, so Kelsey's got like this really, and I talked about how I think he's a tool bag, but he's got this fake facade about him. Like he really truly believes that he's a
bad man.
He's a bad man and he's the great. But then it's like you see George Kittle and the true like when he really has a great play, he shows it to you, carries 2 guys on his back, gets the first down when you need it, and then he freaks out like in true George Kittle fashion. Like, freaking Travis Kelce will break 1 tackle and it'll be like an arm tackle and it'll be like, let's go, and it'll be like a 2-yard play.
I think you just hate Kelce.
I just hate Kelce. You're right. He's everybody on the Chiefs I highly dislike. But anyway, I love George Kittle. He's so. You know what? I think the Patriots are going to lose in the first round, and I'm rooting for the San Francisco 49ers.
I would be too. Yeah.
I'm full on rooting for the 49ers. I love George Kittle. He's so cool. I like in fantasy, he's a roller coaster to ride, but in real life,
he's been pretty good though since
coming back.
Yeah.
Higbee had 15. Hayden Hurst stole hearts away when Mark Ingram went down and had 14. Caught a touchdown. Kelsey stayed with it. He's had his 4th straight 1,000-yard season.
Wow.
He gets targeted so much in that offense. It's crazy.
Still not worth a second-round pick in fantasy, though.
No, not at all.
He's been good, though.
You had Ian Thomas. Brate had 11. Brate has had some interesting games this year. You had this lends to your argument about O.J. Howard. 9 points.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Maybe with the and this is so stupid. This is what I'm talking about. Foster Moreau caught a touchdown again. Do you know how infuriating that is? Darren Waller's over here working his butt off with 6 catches and 73 yards on 8 targets, and you can't even get him a touchdown?
Guess not.
Oh, it's so frustrating. Maybe Foster Moreau being out will give Darren Waller opportunities.
Waller's numbers have been gross, to be honest.
Dude, look at everyone else's numbers around him and like tell me that they're not.
I'm just saying for a number 2 tight end in fantasy.
That's just tight ends though. Like
8, 5,
look
20,
at Kittle's numbers from last year. It's literally mirroring that. He had like a bunch of 5-point games where everyone didn't talk about him, but then it was the 8 and the 20-point weeks that held him true. Anyway, let's talk about some busts. I don't think there were a whole ton of them this week.
A lot of people started Hollister. A lot of people
Jacob
started
Hollister.
He had 5 points. A lot of people started Hooper.
That wasn't the best idea.
Only had 4. Jack Doyle, I thought was going to have a monster week against Tampa Bay. Had 3.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Mark Andrews had 1.
Oh, that's because he got hurt, though.
Oh, yeah.
And then our man, Chris Herndon, had 1.
Chris Herndon, a.k.a. Same person.
Yeah. And that'll do it for our unless you want to talk about kickers, dude.
No, I think we're done. I think we're done.
Kicker booms and busts.
Done.
In other news, the Cowboys finally cut Brett Maher.
Wow, look at that.
You know what the Pats should do? They should freaking frick it and just cut Nick Folk and get Brett Maher.
No, they should cut Nick Folk and just have Tom Brady be the kicker.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, let Brady kick the balls. Go Pats.
Go Pats. All right, let's talk about some matchup breakdowns.
Just put Goodell's face on the ball, and he'll kick it 60 yards. Right through the uprights, baby. Ring number 7.
Patriots.
Every
fans,
Pats fan.
I'm telling you right now, like we like the Patriots. They're they're
obviously
our
team.
Our
favorite team.
We have to say,
Pats fans.
on behalf of our fan base, we are some of the most incessantly annoying individuals
100%
on the face of the earth. Honestly, so annoying. I hate being us.
Oh, but I love every second of it, though.
I love the Patriots. I just hate the. You know what? I think the honest truth is,
let's go Pats.
People hate us because we win too much. That happens to everyone. People hate Golden State because they win too much, right?
But
it's the fan bases.
Yeah, fan bases don't know how to.
Like
they never act like they've been there before, ever.
We've been there like every year. Somebody wins a championship in our city, and we just act like we never won it before.
Yep.
Let's get it. All right, let's talk about
the Red Sox have won another title, and we're going to the parade tomorrow.
Let's get it.
Sox all the way, baby. Like,
it's ridiculous. Let's talk about the Jets at the Ravens. Thursday night football game, 45-point over-under. We have Sam Darnold and Lamar Jackson. Now, Darnold against Baltimore. This is it. Darnold's streamability ended last week. How many points do you have? I forgot.
19.
Okay, so
okay.
You can't start Darnold anymore, unfortunately, for the sake of argument. Now, on the other side, you obviously have Lamar Jackson.
Who is an obvious start.
I don't know if I want to start him, bro. I'm just kidding.
Dude, the Jets are kind of a good matchup, bro. You seen them play against the Dolphins this past week?
Honest to God, this is where Lamar Jackson wins people championships these next 2 games. Yeah. Just watch.
Or they beat the Jets so bad that Lamar Jackson gets benched in the third quarter because it's like 48-0.
And he only gets 10 points.
Yeah.
Like all of them are rushing touchdowns for Mark Ingram.
Yeah, or like 2 defensive touchdowns because Darnold fumbles and so does Powell. Powell doesn't play.
Never mind. I was going to say, what is it with Jets quarterbacks completely vomiting all over themselves, especially in night games?
It's the Jets, man. I don't know.
So anyway, we got if Le'Veon Bell, he had a sickness this week that held him out of the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he'll be ready for Thursday. I don't know if he's still sick.
I would assume so if it was from illness.
Yeah, I'm assuming that he'll be back. If he's not, do you like Bilal Powell or Ty Montgomery? No. Bilal Powell had 9 points this week in replace of... There was like a massive argument on Twitter between everyone whether you should start Bilal Powell or whether you should not start Bilal Powell. He had 10 points roughly, and he didn't have a bad week. So it was basically what Le'Veon Bell would have done.
Neither side was really right or wrong. To be honest,
I was like literally watching the games, and I was like, "Are you serious right now? No one's right. This is great." So anyway,
Bell would have got 15, bro, instead of 9.
Don't make me throw up. If Bell does play, you got to start him. Against Baltimore, it's not a good matchup. But
I guess. What
about Mark Ingram?
I guess. Yeah, Mark Ingram's a must start.
I'm just gonna shove the Le'Veon Bell start down your throat. You have no choice.
Okay.
But I'll ask you about Mark Ingram.
Yes, obvious. Yes.
Why do you have concerns about Le'Veon Bell?
Because he's playing Baltimore on a Thursday night game. Is it in Baltimore? Yes, it is. It's in Baltimore.
Probably, yeah.
I'm just saying, bro.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's
you do have to start him because he's on your team as probably as your RB1 or RB2.
You drafted him in the second round. You gotta
or first round. In our league, he was 7th overall.
I refuse to believe that he was a first round pick.
He was 7th overall.
What about Marquise Brown? I don't think this is against the Jets. Against the Jets, he's okay. If you have him on your bench and you lost one of your big wide receivers,
then you're fine, I guess.
You're fine not starting him, but he's just not.
I'm not.
He's not going to get.
He's going to be a really good player for years to come.
Yeah.
But
Hollywood and lights.
Yeah.
But for now, nothing. And then obviously, I would say start Mark Andrews if he plays. Start Mark Andrews. On the other side, you have Robbie Anderson, Jamison Crowder. Now we've seen this trend: 3 weeks for Jamison Crowder, 3 weeks for Robbie Anderson. Does it go back to Jamison Crowder now that it's been 3 weeks?
Maybe they both have good games, or maybe they both suck.
You sit both of them,
which is what I would do.
Agreed.
All
right, and then Chris Herndon is out, and so is Ryan Griffin.
So who's left? The ghost of Herndon?
Yeah, the ghost of Herndon. It's the ghost of Herndon catches one pass.
The Jets' third-string tight end is a combination between Ryan Griffin and Chris Herndon.
It's true.
So he's gonna do twice the production.
Let's talk about the Patriots at the Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals. On the Bengals side, you have Dalton. Obviously, no start. Joe Mixon. This is the question. I'm just gonna get past all of these. Sit Boyd. Argument.
No.
Sit Tate, sit Ross, all those guys.
Sit them all.
Sit Eifert. We've not talked about Eifert on this podcast all year.
I'm very happy that we haven't.
Yeah, never, ever will. But the question is, Joe Mixon, to get through this one really fast, do you want to start Joe Mixon this week?
I really don't, but I probably will.
Okay.
What about you?
If you have another option that's better.
Yes, agreed, but you probably don't. If you do, and you're privileged enough to have another option that's better for this week, then yeah.
Because right now, on the season, Joe Mixon's the RB16, ranked in ECR by Fantasy Pros. So he's a mid RB2. He's been playing like an RB1, low end.
Last few weeks.
So I feel like Joe Mixon he's not a good play against New England. It's as simple as that. I started Zeke. There's probably 5 running backs in the NFL, all of the NFL, that I would start, maybe 6, that I would start in fantasy football against New England.
Yeah.
I really don't think that, like, if you're outside the top 10, you probably should find a better option.
Agreed, yeah.
This is a gross one. We talked about DeAndre Washington yesterday. He has a good matchup this week. Do you play him over Joe Mixon?
Who is Washington playing again?
Forgot.
I want to say it's...
Let me just pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up.
Pull it up, bang.
See, this is one that could come back to bite you though, because this is like...
Oh yeah, most definitely. But my big thing is it's the playoffs.
I think if you want a boom,
if you need a good game,
you start Washington.
Yep. He had
If you just need I don't think Mixon's gonna do good, but he's gonna get involved in the passing game, and he's gonna get enough yards where he gets like 8 to 10 points.
He had 96 all-purpose yards and a touchdown, and six catches.
Who is he playing this week?
I don't know why I just read this.
Pulling up his numbers.
Jacksonville. He's playing Jacksonville, which is number 16 against the rush.
I might start watching
something like that.
Mixon.
Yeah, it's so gross, but
it's close. But again, if you need a high floor, I think you might want to start Mixon. But ceiling, you go Washington.
Yeah. And then on the other side, Brady sit. Sony Michel against Cincinnati. This is
I sit him too.
I would sit.
It feels like it's a random like Rex Burkhead or Sony Michel game, but I'm still gonna sit him.
Okay. What about James White?
James White, you probably start.
Okay.
Non-standard, but
okay. And then you got Jules, who you got to start.
Yep.
And then there's
that's probably it. Yeah.
That's probably it. So let's move on to Buccaneers at Lions. Tampa has Jameis Winston, Matthew Stafford on the other side. It's a 47.5 point over under. So Matt Stafford, is he still hurt? Is he out for the season? I totally blanked on that. It's David Blah.
Yeah, they haven't really said anything about it.
Okay. We don't know who's going to start a quarterback, but I would say
if it's Matt Stafford, it changes everything.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. If it's Matt Stafford against Tampa, I would play him, but
I'd play him. I'd play Marvin Jones, and I'd play Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's not Matt Stafford, then I don't play Marvin Jones.
I would play Kenny Golladay.
You probably play Kenny Golladay, but I still don't even feel good about it.
Yeah, Marvin Jones, you got to sit though.
Yeah.
What about Bo Scarborough or J.D. McKissick?
I think. Do you run with the boat?
No.
Yeah, I probably don't either.
Not against Tampa. Tampa's a tough run defense. Winston against Detroit, start.
Yeah,
I would start him. Ronald Jones.
He's the number 5 quarterback, which is nuts because he's
gross.
Blows.
Ronald Jones, Peyton Barber. At this point, I don't.
They split carries this week.
So it's not even worth it anymore to even think about it. And then
Bruce Arians is just toying with your feelings.
Mike Evans is out.
Yep.
And Chris Godwin is in. So if Winston plays, Chris Godwin, great start this week. I think
against the Lions,
everyone's talking about them doubling Chris Godwin and all that garbage.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't be concerned about that.
I would not be concerned about that against
Houston, but Detroit definitely no.
Yeah, so
and even Houston,
I would expect Chris Godwin to have a big week, especially if they're able to move the ball. The number one target in the red zone is going to be Godwin.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
100%.
No, it's OJ Howard.
He might catch 2 touchdowns in this game. So if you can expect maybe a big week from Chris Godwin, I would hope against Detroit. Yeah. And then I think that's all there is for this matchup, right?
I think so.
And then we have the Texans at the Titans, 49.5 point over under. We have Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill. We need to get him in this game.
Start him.
And then Derrick Henry, I would start.
Yeah.
On the other side, I'm having trouble right now.
Sean Watson, start. Obviously. DeAndre Hopkins, start. Obviously, do you start?
You're skipping over Hyde and Johnson. You're just like frick these
Yeah.
guys.
Well, do you start Hyde or Johnson?
No.
Okay. Will Fuller.
Just wanted to play.
If he plays,
I just wanted to play the game.
He hasn't played last.
If Will Fuller plays, yes.
Okay.
If he doesn't, no.
Okay, I agree.
He says I agree. Obviously, don't play him if
and then that's probably it.
AJ Brown.
I guess.
Did we say start Derrick Henry or did we?
Yes,
just
we
pass
did.
over?
We
Okay,
did
good.
say so.
Well, I mean, you just got to say it for posterity. I would start AJ Brown.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If you have him, I mean, obviously,
It's
he has
kinda gross,
better
but
guys.
yeah.
Don't start him over Julian, you idiot. Should I start him?
Should I start AJ Brown?
You know what drives me crazy? The
Julio Jones.
The pick 3 on Twitters. Yeah. It's the pick 3. I mean, pick 2 of these 3 wide receivers. People do that all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
They send that question, and I'm like,
and it's always 3 garbage. The face you just.
It's like I have DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, and Marvin Jones. Which kind do I start?
Okay, this is really tough.
This is really hard.
I need your help. Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, or Jamison Crowder.
Well, I don't know. It's almost too easy. That's like a bait
I feel
question.
like those are always.
And then they get mad at you when one guy.
Those
has a
are
bad
definitely
game.
The bait questions.
That's a trap. That's a trap question right there. Don't be asking those. Are we done with the Texans and the
Yes.
Titans? All right. Broncos at Chiefs, 45.5 point over under. This is actually going to be an intriguing game because Denver always gives Kansas City a run for their money.
And Drew Lock time, baby.
No, don't start him. Patrick Mahomes start. We have LaShawn McCoy, Darren Dove.
I'm not starting any.
Yeah, no
Chiefs
running backs for the Chiefs. Start Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And then I would start Travis Kelce, obviously.
Yeah.
On the other side, what we got here, boss?
Philip Lindsay, do you start him in a good matchup?
Yeah.
12 points. Yeah, he's a good start.
Yeah, very good start.
Cortland-
Simultaneous ums. I don't like that. That's gross. Don't do that again.
Cortland Sutton. Is he start? I'll take that as a maybe.
No.
No?
Would you start Font? I'm gonna. Yeah,
No.
yeah. Fine. You can start him against Kansas.
Sutton, yeah.
We
I
did
know he
this
had a
last
bad-
week.
He had a bad week.
We did
but-
this last week, buddy.
Yeah. Sutton had a bad week, but
Everyone's like listening to this podcast, going, "We're getting nothing out of this."
Cortland Sutton, if you have
It's like, should I start Cortland
Yes.
Sutton or should I not?
Yes.
We just gave him
Yes.
like a non-answer.
I say
I'm gonna
yes.
say you're gonna say yes. I'm gonna say no.
But you'll start.
I don't think he has a repertoire with Cortland Sutton yet. Drew Lock.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
it looks like he
That's a fair
has it
question. That's
with
fair.
Noah Font.
I'm still starting him though, and I'm not starting no font. If you have Jared Cook and you desperately need a tight end, then sure.
Okay.
But I'm not going out of my way to start no font.
All right, and then the final game is Dolphins at Giants.
An absolute crap show.
That is a crapshoot game. We have Eli Manning, no.
No.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, yes. No, I'm
No.
kidding. Yeah, just stay away from him. Patrick Laird, no.
No.
Saquon, yes.
Yes. He's probably the only yes in this game.
Devontae Parker, if he plays, he fights through that concussion.
If he somehow plays, then yeah.
Yeah, I would play him. And then Gesicki, I would play too.
Yeah. Especially if Parker does.
On the other side, Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate. Those two guys are good wide receivers.
Against the
but
Dolphins, maybe?
Against the Dolphins, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I might start Shepard, but outside of that, I probably wouldn't.
And if Evan Ingram somehow makes his return, which at this rate it feels like he's just going to be out for they're just going to rest him out the year.
I would.
If he does play though, I think he's a start.
Yep, I don't disagree. All right, we did this episode in a shorter fashion than most. We finally got through the episode without saying the question, or not saying the question. That saying what am I saying right now?
Without saying.
We went too long. Yeah, because we have to hurry up.
Or saying
so
like
we can just sit here and talk for 8 minutes.
Hurry this up. We could, or we could all go longer.
Yeah, that's true. That'll do it for this episode of the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Be sure to listen tomorrow as we break down more matchups, discuss our starts and sits for Week 15, and then send you guys off to go make your fantasy championships to try to get in them.
The game begins.
The real game. That week of planning, we might have 4-hour episodes, so that's a lie. I don't want to record for 4 hours.
Yeah, probably not.
There's that. Don't forget to check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Talk to you tomorrow, Fantasy Champs.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.